Malik's feet were bleeding. Every step hurt like fire, but he couldn't stop running. Glass from broken bottles cut into his skin as he raced through the dirty alley. His lungs burned. His heart pounded so hard it felt like it might break through his chest. "Please let me find him," Malik whispered between gasps. "Please, please, please." He had been running for almost an hour. His torn shirt stuck to his back with sweat. His face was covered in dirt and tears. But none of that mattered. Nothing mattered except finding the millionaire before it was too late. The city was going crazy. For 2 whole days, 48 long hours, everyone had been looking for Margaret Hale. She was the mother of Ethan Hale, one of the richest men in the whole city. Posters covered every wall. Her face was on every TV screen. The news reporters talked about her every single hour. Margaret Hale, age 67, missing for 48 hours. If you see her, call this number immediately. Malik had seen those posters everywhere. He knew her face by heart now. And last night, in the scariest place in the whole city, he had found her. It happened when the sun was going down. Malik was looking for food near the industrial dump. Most people never went there. It smelled terrible, like rotten eggs and old trash. Wild dogs barked from the shadows. Rusty metal containers were everywhere, some tipped over, some falling apart. Malik heard a sound, a tiny, weak sound, like a hurt bird. He stopped walking. He listened hard. There was again a moan, a human moan. His heart started beating faster. He walked toward the sound, stepping carefully around broken glass and sharp metal. Behind a huge rusty container, hidden from everyone, he saw her, an old woman, lying on the ground. Her clothes were soaked from the rain. Her silver hair was dirty and tangled. Her face was pale, so pale she looked like a ghost. But Malik recognized her immediately. The pearl earrings. One was still in her ear, catching the last bit of sunlight, and on her neck, a small brown birthmark, exactly like the one in the posters. "Mrs. Hale?" Malik whispered, kneeling beside her. The woman's eyes opened just a little bit. Her lips moved, but almost no sound came out. "Ethan." Malik's hands were shaking. This was really her, Margaret Hale, the missing woman everyone was searching for. "I'm going to help you," Malik promised. "I'm going to find your son." But Margaret was so weak. Her hand was cold as ice when Malik touched it. Her breathing was shallow and slow. Every breath sounded painful. Malik looked around frantically. His mind raced. He needed to get help. He needed to call someone. But he didn't have a phone. He never had a phone. Poor kids like him didn't have phones. He tried to lift her. Maybe he could carry her. But she moaned in pain, and he was too small, too weak. She was a grown woman, and he was just a 12-year-old boy who didn't eat enough food. "I'll go get help," Malik said. "I'll find the police. No." Margaret's voice was so quiet Malik had to put his ear close to her mouth. "Ethan, only Ethan." She was scared. Malik understood. She didn't trust anyone else. She only wanted her son. "Okay," Malik said. "I'll find him. I promise. But you have to stay alive. You have to fight. Can you do that?" Margaret's fingers squeezed his hand. It was the smallest squeeze, but it meant yes. Malik made a decision. He couldn't leave her alone in the dark. What if the wild dogs found her? What if she got even colder? What if she died while he was gone? So Malik stayed, all through the night. He sat beside Margaret Hale. He took off his shirt, his only shirt, and covered her with it. It wasn't much, but it was all he had. He talked to her to keep her awake. He told her stories about the city, about the stars, about anything he could think of. "Your son is looking for you," Malik said. "I see him on TV. He loves you so much. He's offering a big reward. Everyone is searching." Margaret's eyes would close, and Malik would panic. No, stay awake. Tell me about Ethan. What is he like? What makes him happy?" Sometimes she would whisper a word or two. Kind, boy smart. The night was the longest night of Malik's life. It was cold. It was scary. Strange sounds came from the darkness. But Malik didn't leave. He had made a promise. When the sun finally came up, Painting the sky pink and orange, Malik knew what he had to do. "I'm going to find your son now," he told Margaret. "I'm going to bring him here. You hold on. You stay strong. I'll be back." Margaret's hand reached out weakly. Her fingers touched a pearl earring in her ear. Then, with great effort, she pulled it. The earring broke, and she pressed it into Malik's palm. "Show him," she whispered. Malik closed his fingers around the broken pearl earring. He understood. This was proof. This would make Ethan believe him. He ran then. Ran like he had never run before. His feet hurt from walking all night, but he pushed through the pain. He had to find Ethan Hale before it was too late. The city was waking up. People walked to work. Cars filled the streets. Malik ran past them all, searching every face, looking for the millionaire who was somewhere out there, desperate and heartbroken. And then, on a busy street corner, Malik saw him. Ethan Hale stood next to a black car. He looked terrible. His expensive suit was wrinkled. His eyes had dark circles under them. His hair was messy. A woman stood beside him. Probably his partner, Vanessa. She was crying, holding papers with his mother's face on them. Malik's heart exploded with hope. He ran faster, his bleeding feet slapping against the pavement. "Mr. Hale!" Malik shouted. "Mr. Hale!" People turned to stare. Some moved out of the way. Others looked annoyed. Ethan looked up. His face was hard and angry. Malik ran right up to him, gasping for breath, bleeding and dirty. "Your mother?" Malik shouted. "Your mother is alive. I found her. She's in the dump. She's alive." But Ethan's face didn't fill with joy. Instead, it filled with rage. And Malik's hope turned to fear. "Get away from me!" Ethan shouted. His voice was like thunder. "I don't have time for this." Malik stumbled backward. He had expected happiness, relief, hope. Instead, he saw fury in Ethan's eyes. "But, sir, please, your mother?" "My mother?" Ethan's laugh was bitter and harsh. "Do you know how many people have said that to me? Do you know how many liars have tried to trick me in the last 2 days?" Vanessa put her hand on Ethan's arm. "Ethan, maybe we should." "No." Ethan cut her off. He pointed at Malik with a shaking finger. 23 people, Vanessa. 23 scammers have come to me with fake stories. They wanted the reward money. They wasted our time while my mother could be dying somewhere. Malik's eyes filled with tears. "I'm not lying. I stayed with her all night. She's cold and weak, and she keeps saying your name. They all say that." Ethan yelled. People on the street stopped to watch. "You think you're clever? You think you can describe what you saw on TV and I'll just hand you money?" "I don't want money." Malik cried. His voice cracked with desperation. "She's dying. She needs you. Please, you have to believe me." Ethan turned away. "We're wasting time. Get in the car. Vanessa, we have more places to search." Panic exploded in Malik's chest. No, this couldn't happen. Margaret didn't have much time left. Every second mattered. "Wait!" Malik shouted. He reached into his pocket with trembling fingers. "She gave me this. She wanted me to show you." He held out his hand. In his dirty palm lay the broken pearl earring, shining in the morning sun. Everything stopped. Vanessa gasped. Her hand flew to her mouth. "Ethan!" Her voice was barely a whisper. Ethan turned around slowly. His eyes locked onto the earring. All the color drained from his face. "Where did you get that?" His voice was different now. Quiet, dangerous, scared. "From your mother," Malik said. "She pulled it off and gave it to me. She said to show you. She knew you would recognize it." Ethan snatched the earring from Malik's hand. He held it close to his eyes, examining every detail. His hands were shaking so badly, the earring almost fell. "These were my grandmother's," Ethan whispered. "My mother never takes them off. Never. The clasp on the left one was loose. We were going to get it fixed, but..." His voice broke. Vanessa was crying now. She knelt down in front of Malik, grabbing his shoulders. "Where is she? Please, tell us exactly where she is." Finally, Finally, someone was listening. "The industrial dump," Malik said quickly. "Sector 9, behind the big rusted container. The red one that's tipped on its side. She's hidden back there. Nobody can see her unless they go behind it." "How did she get there?" Vanessa asked, wiping her tears. "She told me a little bit," Malik explained. "Someone attacked her. A thief. He stole her purse and pushed her down. She hit her head really hard. She lost her phone and her money and that special bracelet that helps find people." "The GPS bracelet," Ethan said. His face was white as snow. "That's why we couldn't track her." "She got confused," Malik continued. "She walked the wrong way. She ended up in the industrial area, and she was so tired and hurt that she fell down behind that container. And that's where I found her last night." "Last night?" Ethan's eyes went wide. "You found her last night, and you're only telling me now?" "I tried." Malik cried. "I tried to tell the police. I tried to tell the security guards. But nobody listened to me. They chased me away." "Why?" Vanessa asked softly. Malik looked down at his bare, bleeding feet, at his torn, dirty clothes, at his skinny arms covered in bruises and scars. "Because I'm nobody," Malik said quietly. "I'm just a poor street kid. People like me, our words don't matter to anyone." The truth hung in the air like a heavy weight. Vanessa stood up and hugged Malik tightly. She didn't care that he was dirty. She didn't care that he smelled bad. She just held him like he was precious. "Your words matter to us," she said fiercely. "You might have saved her life." Ethan was staring at Malik with a completely different look now. Shame, guilt, gratitude, 1,000 emotions all mixed together. "How is she?" Ethan asked. His voice cracked. "Tell me the truth. How bad is it?" Malik chose his words carefully. He didn't want to lie, but he also didn't want to destroy all hope. "She's very weak," Malik said honestly. "She can barely move. She's cold, even though I covered her with my shirt. Her breathing is slow, but she's alive. She's fighting. She kept whispering your name all night long." A sound came from Ethan then. It wasn't quite a sob. It wasn't quite a gasp. It was the sound of a heart breaking and healing at the same time. "Take me to her," Ethan commanded. "Right now. We don't have a second to waste." They got into the car, all three of them. Ethan drove like a madman, following Malik's directions. They raced through streets, ran red lights, honked at cars to move out of the way. "Left here," Malik pointed. "Now go straight for 2 blocks." The city changed as they drove. The nice buildings disappeared. The clean streets became dirty. Trash piled up on corners. Broken windows stared at them like dead eyes. "People actually live here?" Vanessa whispered in horror. "Some of us have nowhere else to go," Malik said simply. They reached the industrial dump. The smell hit them immediately. Vanessa covered her nose. Ethan's face twisted in disgust. But they kept going. Malik jumped out of the car and started running. "Follow me. Hurry." They ran through a nightmare landscape. Rusted metal everywhere. Pools of oily water. Piles of trash taller than a person. Wild dogs barked and growled from the shadows. The ground was covered in broken glass that crunched under their feet. "How does anyone survive here?" Ethan said, horrified. "We do what we can," Malik called back. He led them deeper into the dump, past the tipped-over containers, past the mountains of garbage, to the very back, where nobody ever looked. "There," Malik pointed, "behind that red container." Ethan ran. He ran faster than he had ever run in his whole life. He rounded the corner of the container, and then stopped dead. There she was, his mother, Margaret Hale, lying on the cold, dirty ground. Her silver hair spread around her head like a halo. Her expensive clothes ruined and filthy. Her face, so pale it was almost gray. "Mom." The word tore from Ethan's throat. He fell to his knees beside her. His hands hovered over her body, afraid to touch her, afraid she might break. Margaret's eyes fluttered open, just barely, just enough to see her son's face. "Ethan," the word was softer than a breath. "I'm here, Mom. I'm here. I found you. You're going to be okay. Tears poured down Ethan's face. His whole body shook with sobs. Vanessa knelt beside them, crying too, her hand on Margaret's cold forehead. Malik stood back, watching. His chest felt tight. His own tears mixed with the dirt on his face. Margaret's hand moved. Slowly, painfully, it reached out toward Malik. "The boy," Margaret whispered. "Good boy." Ethan looked up at Malik, really looked at him, saw the bleeding feet, the torn shirt that Margaret was wearing, the exhausted eyes, the bruises and cuts. "You stayed with her," Ethan said. It wasn't a question. It was understanding. "All night, you stayed with her." Malik nodded. "I couldn't leave her alone. She was scared. I promised I would bring you to her." "You saved her life," Vanessa said, her voice choked with emotion. "We need to get her to a hospital," Ethan said, suddenly focused. "Right now." He carefully lifted his mother into his arms. She weighed almost nothing. She felt fragile as glass. But she was alive. She was breathing. There was still hope. "Malik," Ethan said, "come with us. Stay close." They ran back through the dump, Ethan carrying his mother like she was made of diamonds. Vanessa was already on her phone, shouting into it. "Emergency. We need an ambulance at Sector 9 Industrial Dump. Now." "This is Ethan Hale. My mother has been found. She's critical." They reached the car, but before they could get in, sirens wailed in the distance. Getting closer. Closer. The ambulance had arrived. The ambulance screeched to a stop. 2 paramedics jumped out, rolling a stretcher between them. They moved fast, like dancers who had practiced their steps 1,000 times. "Here. Over here." Vanessa waved her arms. The paramedics reached them in seconds. They saw Margaret in Ethan's arms and immediately went into action. "Sir, we need you to lay her down on the stretcher," the first paramedic said calmly. Ethan didn't want to let go. His arms tightened around his mother. "Sir, please. We need to help her." Slowly, carefully, Ethan placed Margaret on the stretcher. His hands were shaking so badly he could barely control them. The paramedics worked quickly. They checked her pulse. They listened to her breathing. They put an oxygen mask over her face. They wrapped warm blankets around her body. "BP is extremely low," one paramedic said to the other. "Pulse is weak. She's hypothermic. We need to move now." "Wait." Margaret's voice came out muffled under the oxygen mask. Her hand reached out, searching for something. "The boy." Malik stood frozen a few steps away. He felt invisible again, like he always did. The important people were here now. The doctors, the millionaire, the ambulance with its flashing lights. What did they need him for anymore? "Malik," Ethan called. "Get in the ambulance. Now." Malik's eyes went wide. "Me?" "Yes, you," Ethan said. "You think we're leaving you here after what you did?" But Malik hesitated. His feet wouldn't move. All his life, people had promised him things and then forgotten about him. Why would this be different? Vanessa saw the fear in his eyes. She understood. She walked over and took his hand gently. "You're coming with us," she said softly. "You're part of this now. You're part of this family." Family. The word hit Malik like lightning. He had never had a family. Not really. Not one that stayed. "But I'm dirty," Malik whispered. "I'll mess up the ambulance." "I don't care if you mess up 100 ambulances," Ethan said fiercely. "Get in. That's an order." The paramedics lifted the stretcher into the ambulance. Ethan climbed in after his mother. He turned and held out his hand to Malik. "Come on, kid. She wants you here. And so do I." Malik took Ethan's hand. It was warm and strong and sure. It pulled him up into the ambulance like he weighed nothing at all. Inside, the ambulance was bright and clean and filled with medical equipment. Malik sat on the bench next to Ethan. Vanessa sat on the other side. The doors slammed shut, and the siren wailed as they sped toward the hospital. Malik looked at Margaret lying on the stretcher. She looked so small under all those blankets. The oxygen mask fogged up with each breath. Her eyes were closed now, but her chest moved up and down. Up and down. She was alive. "I kept my promise," Malik whispered, leaning close to her. "I brought your son to you, just like I said I would." Margaret's fingers moved, just slightly, just enough to touch Malik's hand. One of the paramedics was checking her vital signs. "She's stabilizing," he said. "Blood pressure is coming up. That's good. That's really good." Ethan let out a breath he didn't know he'd been holding. "Will she be okay?" "She's hypothermic and dehydrated. She probably has a concussion from the fall. But you got to her in time," the paramedic said, looking at Malik. "If she'd been out there much longer—" He didn't finish the sentence. He didn't have to. Everyone understood. "How long was she lying there before you found her?" Ethan asked Malik. "I don't know exactly," Malik said, "but she told me the thief attacked her 2 days ago, in the afternoon. So maybe a day and a half? Maybe more." Ethan's face went pale. "A day and a half. In the cold. In the rain. Alone." "Not alone," Malik corrected quietly. "I was with her. I talked to her all night. I made sure she knew someone cared." Vanessa started crying again. She reached across and squeezed Malik's hand. "Why didn't the police find her?" Ethan's voice was hard with anger. "We had search teams. Dogs. Helicopters. How did they miss her?" "Nobody checks behind containers," Malik explained. "That part of the dump is dangerous. Criminals hide there sometimes. The guards don't go back there. And even if they did—" Malik paused, his voice getting smaller. "Even if they did, they wouldn't have listened to me when I tried to tell them." "What do you mean?" Ethan asked, though he was starting to understand. Malik looked down at his bare, bleeding feet, at his filthy clothes, at his skinny arms. "I tried to tell the security guard at the dump entrance," Malik said. "I told him there was a woman who needed help. He laughed at me. He said I was lying. He said street kids like me always make up stories to cause trouble. He chased me away with his stick." Silence filled the ambulance. It was a heavy, painful silence. "I tried to tell a police officer, too," Malik continued, "on the street this morning. But he was busy. He looked at me like I was garbage. He said he didn't have time for homeless kids bothering him. He told me to get lost or he'd arrest me." Ethan's hands curled into fists. His jaw was tight with rage. "That's why I had to find you myself," Malik said. "Because nobody else would listen. Because when you're poor, when you're nobody, your words don't matter, even when someone's life depends on it." "That's not right," Vanessa said, her voice shaking. "That's not fair." "No," Malik agreed. "It's not, but that's how the world works." Ethan looked at Malik, really looked at him. This 12-year-old boy who had been ignored and chased away, who had slept on cold ground all night next to a dying woman, who had run through the city on bleeding feet, who had refused to give up even when everyone dismissed him. "You're wrong about one thing," Ethan said. Malik looked up, confused. "You said you're nobody," Ethan continued. "That's wrong. You're a hero. You're the only hero in this whole story." "I'm not a hero," Malik said quickly. I just couldn't leave her. She was scared. She was alone. I know what that feels like." And there it was, the truth behind everything. Malik knew what it was like to be cold and alone in the dark. He knew what it was like to be invisible, to be forgotten, to have no one care if you lived or died. So when he found Margaret, he couldn't walk away, because he wouldn't wish that feeling on anyone, not even a stranger. The ambulance pulled up to the hospital. Doors flew open. More doctors and nurses rushed out. They pulled Margaret's stretcher out and wheeled her away quickly, shouting medical words Malik didn't understand. Ethan started to follow, but then stopped. He turned back to Malik. "Stay right here," Ethan said. "Don't move. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. Promise me." Malik nodded. "I promise." Ethan ran after his mother, disappearing through the hospital doors. Malik stood alone in the parking lot. The morning sun was fully up now, warm on his face. His feet still hurt. His whole body ached with exhaustion. But inside, He felt something he hadn't felt in a very long time. He felt like he mattered. Vanessa stayed with him. She sat down on the curb and patted the spot next to her. Malik sat down too. "You're not going to disappear, are you?" Vanessa asked gently. "Do you want me to?" Malik asked back. "No." Vanessa said firmly. "We want you to stay." Ethan meant what he said. "You saved Margaret's life. That makes you family now." "I don't have any family," Malik whispered. "You do now," Vanessa said, putting her arm around his thin shoulders. They sat there together, waiting. Minutes passed, then an hour. Malik's eyes started to close. He was so tired, so very tired. Vanessa let him lean against her. "Sleep," she said softly. "You're safe now." When Malik woke up, he was lying on a hospital bed in a clean, quiet room. Someone had washed his feet and bandaged them. He was wearing new clothes, soft pajamas that smelled like soap. A tray of food sat on the table next to him. Real food, hot food. Ethan sat in a chair by the bed, watching him. "She's going to be okay," Ethan said immediately, knowing that was the first thing Malik would want to know. "The doctor said you saved her life. Another few hours and—" He stopped. "But you didn't let that happen. You refused to give up on her." "How is she?" Malik asked. "Awake. Asking for you, actually." "Me?" "Yes, you. Come on. Let's go see her. If you feel strong enough." Malik's feet hurt, but he could walk. Ethan helped him down the hallway to another room. Inside, Margaret lay in a clean bed, looking 1,000 times better than she had in the dump. She had color in her cheeks now. Her eyes were clear and bright. When she saw Malik, she smiled. "There's my guardian angel," she said, her voice weak but warm. Malik walked slowly to her bedside. Margaret reached out and took his hand. "You stayed with me," she said. "You didn't leave me alone in the dark." "I couldn't," Malik said simply. "Why?" Margaret asked. "You didn't know me. You had nothing to gain. Why did you do it?" Malik thought about his answer carefully. "Because everyone deserves to know someone cares," he finally said. "Everyone deserves to not die alone." Margaret's eyes filled with tears. She pulled Malik closer and hugged him as tightly as her weak arms could manage. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for caring about a stranger." Ethan stood in the doorway, watching. His mother was alive because a poor boy with nothing had given everything. "Malik," Ethan said, "we need to talk about your future." Malik's heart skipped. Here it came. The goodbye. The thank you and good luck. The return to the streets. But Ethan surprised him. "You're not going back to that dump," Ethan said firmly. "You're not going back to the streets. You're coming home with us." Malik couldn't breathe. "What?" "We want you to live with us," Margaret said from her bed. "If you want to, we can't force you. But we want you. We want you to be part of our family." "But why?" Malik asked. "I'm nobody. I'm just a street kid." "You're not nobody," Ethan said fiercely. "You proved that. You showed more courage, more compassion, more humanity than anyone I've ever met. You're exactly the kind of person we want in our family." Malik felt tears streaming down his face. He couldn't stop them. "You mean it?" he whispered. "You really mean it?" "I really mean it," Ethan said. "You saved my mother's life. Now let us save yours." Malik looked at Margaret, at Ethan, at Vanessa, standing in the doorway with tears in her eyes. For the first time in his 12 years of life, Malik felt what it was like to be wanted, to be seen, to matter. "Yes," he whispered. "Yes, I want to stay." Margaret smiled. Ethan smiled. Vanessa rushed in and hugged everyone at once. And in that hospital room, a new family was born, not by blood, but by something stronger, by compassion, by courage, by the simple choice to care about another human being. Malik had saved Margaret from the dump, but in return, Margaret and Ethan saved Malik from a life of invisibility. Sometimes the people we save end up saving us right back. If this story touched your heart, please share, and subscribe. Help us spread stories of hope, courage, and compassion to people who need to hear them. Your support means everything. Click that subscribe button so you never miss another powerful story like this one. Together, we can remind the world that every person matters, no matter who they are or where they come from. Thank you for watching.